It's not all that often that anyone will make a big deal, at least not this big of a deal, about a soup, but I am, and here we are. The soup's history goes back about 3 decades in this town to an old restaurant called Soho South Cafe. It doesn't exist anymore, but that is where it came from. Back around the turn of the century, and it always weirds me out to say that, Savannah would roll into that restaurant for lunch and the tomato soup. Years later, the restaurant sold. Included in the price of the sale was the recipe for this soup. Yes, that is how popular it was. But it's just a tomato soup, what's the big deal? Well, this isn't just me telling you that the soup is legendary. When I made the call to Brian here, the culinary director for Daniel Reed Hospitality, didn't take him by surprise. He knows all about it. And he was more than prepared to make me some. The process, he says, is always the same. Not only does he not stray from the original recipe, but even when he says he'd like to sometimes, he's not allowed to. Same pots, specific pots, yes. Same tomatoes, specific tomatoes, yes. Same process. Every week, a few times a week. Week after week, year after year. During the winter, Brian tells me they go through about 20 gallons a week. All of it coming out of a little cafe that closes middle of the afternoon. This isn't some big old restaurant doing hundreds of covers. It's just a cafe and bakery where everything is made from scratch, baked fresh every morning, and salads and sandwiches also fresh every single day. 20 gallons of this soup a week. These spices were interesting. I gathered a lot of the secrecy was in there. The Colonel has his 11 herbs and spices, and I couldn't even begin to tell you what's in here. I didn't ask. Some things are best left unsaid. But beyond what's in here, the soup cooks down just like any other. The process is the same as most soups you'll find on the internet. Simmering out some of the moisture is obviously important before the heavy cream goes in. That's when you know the magic is beginning to happen. And it does. Once it all cooks down, fresh basil will go in, of course, and then it's blended in a Vitamix in batches until it's smooth. When it gets through all of that, it sits refrigerated until the next day. You know how they say soups taste best the next day? Well, they obviously know this here, and this soup is always made a day ahead of when it's available for sale. It's just part of the routine created all those years ago, 30 or more. The result is a legendary bowl of goodness. The part that's most fascinating to me is the fact that it is largely locals, Brian tells me, that come to Franklin's for this soup. The locals know. Unsuspecting visitors to Savannah that are here for maybe a latte or some of the fresh baked goodies have no idea that there exists such a legendary taste of Savannah. There are no bells, there are no whistles, there are no campaigns to push the soup. It's just the tomato soup at Franklin's, and that's pretty much all it will ever be. But now you know, and it makes it easy for you to remember to get down here to Franklin's on Liberty Street in downtown Savannah so you can eat it and like it.